Welcome, dude.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, this is cool. Yeah, I watched. You know what video I watched was the one from. It was on your LinkedIn, not your
Mhm.
LinkedIn, Linktree, Linktree thing. One of those where it was at the. You were talking about, I think, with somebody from Evic on
Mhm.
explaining how you do the live stream.
Oh, are you talking about the Jet Desert
Twitch.
Fox video?
Maybe that's it. Yep.
It was a YouTube video kind of breaking down my kit
Yep.
and everything.
Yep.
Yeah, he
The yellow
definitely
box
hooked me
thing
up.
and all that kind of stuff. Really interesting
Yeah.
setup.
And that's the least complicated setups that I've had.
Really?
That's my current version that I'm on right now.
Yeah,
It's working pretty good. But
that's awesome,
he
dude.
definitely helped me out a lot with that video. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure Jet's like responsible for at least 25 to maybe 50% of my following.
I
I'm
mean,
still
that's
getting
how it
people
goes.
from that video.
Yeah, that's how it goes, man. But it's a really well done video where you
You
go
did
over
an
all your
excellent
kit.
job. Yeah.
Not only that, but you had to have all that stuff already set up. Like you put a lot of effort into that.
Yeah, this has kind of been a Airsoft live stream has been like an ongoing process since probably 2019. Um, that was a point whenever I realized that I was going to move back to the Houston area, and I was already live streaming PUBG at that point. You know, live streaming PUBG to absolutely no one, um, and so I knew like okay, I could get back into airsoft because I'm going back to Houston, being the area where like I grew up, and also the airsoft field where I first started working at. Um, so I was like, all right, I want to go back to high ground. I want to go back to Kurt, uh, go hang out with those guys for a little bit. But I have this Twitch streaming thing that I'm doing, so I need to find a way to combine the two. And uh, yeah, that started just a whole money pit tech troubleshooting mess.
Right. Yeah, give a background, introduce yourself and give a background on yourself and how you got into airsoft in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so my name's Grant. My Twitch stripper name, as I like to call it, is Swerve Smash. My background with airsoft goes back to freaking oh god, 2011 or so. I was a senior in high school, and I drove past this little pro shop called High Ground Airsoft. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll check into it. I always played airsoft like in my backyard or with my buddies, but it wasn't anything like good. It's just like a lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I walked in there and I just started kind of hanging out with Kurt, the owner of High Ground Airsoft, uh, at that location for a little bit. Stopped by it there after school every once in a while. He ended up offering me a job at his new location, where he set up his first arena. So fortunately, I had a little bit of construction background and remodeling homes at that point. So I was able to help him do a lot of construction work, setting that place up. Excuse me. And yeah, I really kind of cemented myself into airsoft at that point. So fast forward a couple of years, I'm working a different job now, and I go and I join the military. I'm 10 years active duty Coast Guard, by the way.
Okay.
Well, I will be 10 years in like 2 weeks
Yeah.
or something like that, November 14th.
Nice, dude.
So, which I saw you are a Marine Corps veteran, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, man.
Um,
Dude, the Coast Guard gets the least amount of credit and they do the most shit ever.
yeah, I mean, it's also the Coast Guard. So,
Yeah. Still. You guys are I mean, the last how many years, Somali pirates and
mhm.
drug
Yeah.
smugglers and all kind of shit, man. The cartels, like you guys get into some door kicking stuff.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to kind of dip my toes into a little bit of all of those things. Not a lot, but I joined the Coast Guard. My first duty station was on a ship out of Southern Florida, and there I really got into doing a lot of the counter-narcotics. That's primarily what I did. Starting, just as like very lowly qualified, not doing much of anything, to working my way up to being one of the pursuit gunners on the boat crews. I think by the time that I had left that ship, I did, like, I was, not that I shot any of the engines out, but I was in the gunner position and also on the boarding team for at least 5 of those. Not to mention all the regular boardings or the non-pursuit boardings that we had done. Um,
It's like, what's the
after
difference? What's a non-pursuit? Is it like you're just strolling around, you're kind of checking out vehicle or boats that don't register or something?
so the I guess how we would determine the difference between what would be a pursuit mission and what wouldn't be, uh, is a tracking the vessel, like seeing, okay, they're going at like 40 knots, so probably what we would call a panga, or a drug boat or a go fast, or is it going like 5 knots and it's like a fishing boat that may or may not be like a refueling point
Mm,
or or a holding point for whatever,
yeah.
or it could have just been an innocent vessel. But we had certain vessel profiles that we looked for, and if it was moving slow, and we knew that we probably would be able to get the boarding without use of any of our like pursuit boat to boat use of force kind of stuff, we would just send a regular boarding team. But if it's like the profile of a Go Fast or a Panga, then they typically would send out the helicopter first with
Mm,
a helicopter sniper on there, or a gunner, and he would do all of the warning shots and everything.
mm,
Followed on with a boat crew on a like a 30-foot boat called the Over the Horizon uh, boat,
mm.
and they would, or we would either pull alongside and just start the boarding right away, or follow up with a pursuit crew. That way, you could do any like warning shots or disabling fire if you need to.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of that there. And then I go to my specialty school after like 2.5 years of doing that, for law enforcement specialists, to put it in common terms. From there, I go to Virginia, did a little bit, or did a lot of training for direct action type stuff. Did some fast roping out of helicopters,
Mm,
climbed up the side of some boats.
mm-hmm.
Did a lot of like QRF standby for the UN General Assembly. Didn't get into anything in that unit. It's probably good. Um, I left there, and then I went to my current unit where I'm at right now, out of Houston, uh, where we do a lot more of not so much like a direct action type presence, but like a security, uh, prevention, anti-terrorism versus counterterrorism type mission.
Mm,
And done a lot of presidential security zones. We've done border security on the Rio. I got back into doing pursuits again. So I've done drugs here too, or I've caught drugs here too. I got to think about my phrasing on that a little bit.
right.
So it's been a good 10 years. A lot of harsh life lessons that I learned along the way, but
Sure.
all for the better.
Yeah, man.
And so circling back, how airsoft gets involved into that. Um, so I didn't do airsoft whenever I went to my second unit, because some people are going to crucify me, but your regular pickup airsoft gameplay is not training. And
No.
honestly, like, it's going to probably set you up for failure, and it's going to mess up your muscle memory. Uh, Even just the muscle memory of your trigger reset and your trigger manipulation, that actually screwed me up a lot whenever I got into
Really?
Yeah, I had a hard time passing pistol whenever I first got in
because you
because
were pulling instead of squeezing.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, that
I was
rapid.
going at it with
Hmm.
like airsoft
The
trigger.
paintball trigger, the airsoft trigger. Yeah,
Yeah.
man, I could see that. Yeah,
So that took me a little bit to get over. And so I didn't mess with airsoft until I got back to this unit. At that point, I was already live streaming on Twitch, and I just found a way to combine the two of them.
nice. Yeah, that's pretty wild. I think you're the first one that I've talked with that does that live streams gameplay.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. All the videos I've seen, I've never seen it.
So whenever I first started doing it, I was pretty convinced that I was the first one ever to do it. It turns out that there's one guy over in Europe named Soic who has been doing it for a while, and he actually ended up helping me out a lot, even uh, even after I made a post on Reddit, you know, like talking about it and trying to get people pulling to it, and also saying that I was the first one ever to do it, which was inaccurate.
Oops,
And
that's all right. I mean, that's how
hey,
you learn.
I did
Whatever.
my research to try to make sure that statement was accurate before I made it, but it wasn't. Which he very maturely handled that, and then he's helped me out a little bit.
Yeah.
Told me a little bit of how he does it, and I've done had my own ways of doing it, but he helped me get started a lot.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah, and I still talk to him every once in a while.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, second person in the world to do it. Um,
That's
second
still
best.
pretty. Yeah, man, that's still pretty impressive though. Yeah.
um, yeah, I hope it grows and it continues to be a little bit more popular of a thing.
So
Uh,
you're still doing live streaming, right? When
yep.
you get a chance? Okay. So have you ever heard of the Airsoft Network on Roku TV? It's a new channel.
Ooh, I don't have Roku.
So you don't have to, but what you need to do is get in contact. I'll send you the info
Okay.
with, actually, I'll send it to you through Instagram.
Okay. Perfect.
I just saw your message to me about that little GIF thing.
Oh, ready
Yeah.
when you are.
Yeah, yeah. So the Airsoft Network, I talked to this guy back in August. Oh my goodness. He's got a very unforgettable name, but somehow I forgot it. Okay. So
Yeah,
let's
my
see.
memory's starting to go to shit too. It's all right. We're just
Well,
getting old.
I'm a little like I look a little red. I've had honestly I've had a rough couple of weeks, man. It's yeah, so I was
Sorry to
diagnosed
hear
with
that.
cancer back in July, and you probably saw some of the stuff posted. And
I saw your stories today.
okay. Yeah, yeah. So yesterday I had my first round of chemo, and they got me on steroids again to
Yeah.
counteract some of the weakness and all that kind of stuff. So I'm a little jittery
Yeah.
from the
I
prednisone,
can imagine.
and I'm not sure it changes. How I feel changes a little bit
Hmm.
every a couple times every hour or something. So,
Yeah.
um, but I wanted to do this today because has been my therapy. That's where this podcast started. Was when I was
Yeah.
coming out. The whole channel started when I was coming out being paralyzed, and then with talking
Hmm.
with the community is what helped me stay alive. Honestly, so
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I'm
I
glad that you brought that up too, because
yeah,
I definitely I started Twitch as a way for me to just have a community of my own that I created, and that helped me out through a lot. Which I'm sure we can get into that later.
absolutely. I
But
want to hear your. I mean, that's the whole point of this thing is
yeah.
hearing your guys' stories and getting them out there. So, yeah, go ahead and go into that, and
Okay.
I'll
Oof.
look up this thing.
Uh,
I'll send it to you.
um. So let's just say that at my second unit, um, like the more high speed unit out of all the ones that I've been to, it's not good mental thoughts and you know health behaviors started solidifying. You know, a lot of things that were jokes kind of all of a sudden became very real, very fast, and a lot of like negative behavior, and a lot of like really just shitty self-worth behavior
Yeah.
started taking its toll. And it took its
Self-deprecation.
toll. Yeah. It took its toll real fast. And you know, regardless of maybe who instigated it, blah blah blah, it's up to me to speak up about it, because it may not be my fault, but it's my responsibility to advocate for myself. And I was too stubborn to admit it. I was too scared to admit it too.
Sure.
So I ended up leaving my second unit on a little bit less than ideal conditions. And that kind of kick-started my whole mental health journey. And Twitch helped out with that because I had, like, for the first time in my life, a community outside of work that I could go to. At that point, I was probably streaming to like 2 people at a time.
Yeah.
But it gave me something to like kind of latch onto a little bit and like rework my definition of self-worth through that. Which especially now, I still stream and make it fun and whatnot, but I try to have a little underlying emphasis on mental health. And it's kind of also a reality check on myself to make sure that, I hate using this word, as an influencer.
There's so many people I've had on the podcast that I remember the first one, Little Miss Airsoft up in New York. She said, I hate when people call me influencer. I called her that the rest of the podcast. I mean, yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah, a lot of people don't like that.
I want to make sure that I'm like being a positive influence on the people that actually spend their time with me on the channel, because it weighs a lot,
Yeah.
If I can be like a little bit positive influence and like maybe subliminally change some or lay out an example of some healthy thought processes that I've had to invoke in myself, maybe it'll help other people. And I think it has.
It does. Yep. And you never know. Sometimes you'll never find out, but it really, what you're doing really does. It could be some guy laying in bed recovering from a accident or something where his leg's messed up and he's watching your video like, oh, I'm going to get back out there and do that. It gives him something to aspire to. Like people like you and me, we like to be inspired. And so that we like to inspire. And so we're going to do things that hopefully inspire people to do something positive.
Yeah. It definitely having a good community to go to where you can vent, but also on the flip side be kind of directed in a positive direction is a good thing. Like one habit that I've tried starting every time that I see somebody pop into chat who I haven't seen that day, it's like, hey, what's one good thing that's happened to you today? Even if it's just something small and stupid. Just what's that one good thing that's happened to you? And I've talked about my mental health journey on there as well. I try not to get too in the weeds about it just because it is, on a public platform and it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be exciting. But I also use it as a way to send people to some resources that I've used as well. Because I have a second link tree with my mental health resources on there.
Okay.
Yeah. Try not to go down that rabbit hole right now, though. We'll be here
man.
forever. I don't think we got enough time in the day for that.
Well, some of those are especially if you're an overthinker. Most people that have issues like that, like I did as well, we overthink a lot, so that we try to. Well, I try to fix things, right? I'm a fix it personality type. So
Yeah.
I'm constantly looking for a solution. When I can't find one
Yeah.
or an
Drives you
answer to one,
nuts.
it's very depressing.
Yeah.
It's really like it's like stuck in my mind forever. Like it's in
Hmm.
that box that just never goes away of things that I failed, could not
Yeah.
figure out, or couldn't get the right answer to. And it was really, really difficult for me to let it go.
Yeah.
That overthinking thing. It's still part of my old habits,
Yeah.
but
My
for the
wife
most
has
part, it's
given
gone.
me my wife has given me a lot of crap for doing that same exact thing. Like trying to find something just to fix. If
Yeah.
I'm too bored, I will freak out and try to find something to
Oh, I can't
fix.
be bored. I'm
Yeah.
I'm on to whatever.
Danger
If I
zone.
get if I do something, I go all in on whatever I'm going in on. And when I run through it and I figure out all the
Mhm.
stuff about it, it gets boring. Then I go to
Yeah.
the next thing and I try to, whatever. So once it gets boring, man, I move on to the next thing. Like I
Yeah.
burn out at jobs same way because if I can't move up or lateral, I don't care where I move. It's
Yeah.
just I need to learn new stuff. I cannot
If
be
you're not
that.
progressing, what's the
Yeah,
point?
progressing, man. Yeah, gotta be. These guys, I would go into a factory and these guys, yeah, I've been here 32 years. I'm like, I want to throw up. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
doing the same job.
Yeah.
I can't,
I
I'm not
mean,
wired that way, bro. I
if
can't
it
even
works
do
for
it.
you, cool. I don't want to like knock the person for doing
No,
it, but
that's their
it's not a habit
personality.
I can do.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
No. My wife would be like, she'll try to complain or, just not complain, but like vent about
Then,
whatever, work or whatever.
yeah.
And I'm like offering solutions. Oh, I know how to, oh yeah, do this. And she's like, listen, bro, I don't want an answer.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Let me talk.
I just want to vent. I'm like, oh, okay, okay, got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It took me, my wife and I have been married 32 years. And it took me until probably like 2 years ago to figure that out. Okay.
Yep. There's been a lot of that I've been figuring out over the last couple of years too.
Yeah.
You know, now that you mention it, especially, I think this hobby of Twitch streaming is the only one that I've been able to stick to for more than like a
Mm,
year.
yeah.
Because I was the same way. I was like a kayak fisher. I was into 3D printing. I did like I had a new hobby every couple fucking months
Yeah.
as soon as I burn out on it. So I think that was another aspect of how Twitch has been helping me because I've learned to kind of like stick with an interest for a little bit, and maybe just slow the fuck down just a
Hmm.
hair and just stick with something. Um, and it's definitely brought plenty of challenges to let my little fix it brain work, especially
Yeah.
with like trying to. Whenever I was first trying to figure out how to live stream Airsoft, that was fun. That was a lot of internet research and
I'll
just
bet.
stubbornness to the point of stupidity.
Well, you're gonna find a solution. You figure out all these things. Like your gear setup on that video, man, was set up really, really good. So, and I knew
No,
that
thank
took a
you.
lot of research, a lot of time, a lot of programming. You had to program that yellow box thing or whatever, I'm sure.
A lot of money, more than I wish I spent.
Yeah.
I I think just about every time that I step out on the airsoft field, I'm wearing like almost 2 grand worth of tech.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that's not the simple way to do it. You could definitely just go buy a GoPro, have it Amazon to your house the next day, spend about $300, and then go live stream on Twitch as well.
Through
Um,
the GoPro, it has that
through the
feature.
GoPro.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But whenever you factor in things like trying to talk to chat and the viewer interactions, and then you have the stream alerts, like the overlays, like, hey, you just
Yep.
got to follow, and it usually pops up around here.
And you can shout them out.
Yeah, that's when
Hmm.
it got really complicated because I was trying to basically convey everything that I can do with like my desktop PC onto put it into a tack rig and go bring it into an airsoft field.
Yep.
And so, for a little bit, I was live streaming with the GoPro straight to an RTMP server that had the RTMP server set up on my laptop, which was also there in the building. That had all my overlays, and I probably would have to go troubleshoot like every 30 minutes. Stream
Oh
would go
God.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, stubborn to the point of stupidity, made
Yeah.
it work.
Hmm.
So yeah, but now I got a little tablet, the yellow box, like you were talking about, and I can just carry that everywhere. I got a little SIM card in there with data package, and I brought it to Victorville for Milsom West.
Oh, okay.
That was a long time goal that I've had that I've
Really?
finally been able to knock out. Be able
How
to take
did
it
you get?
anywhere, go to Milsim, and
Yeah, a big Milsim like that, Milsim West. A lot of people there, really structured and organized, and
oh, I loved it.
like continuous. Was
Loved
it a
it.
40 hour?
So, being that it was my first Milsim West, I wanted to try and get my feet wet a little bit
Hmm.
first. I was actually very strongly advised against live streaming there, just so that I wouldn't be constantly distracted by it,
Gotcha.
which is totally fair.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but I was already committed to doing it,
Yeah.
so I did it anyways.
Yeah.
Um, but I want to give it a chance to kind of like get my feet wet. I was also a fire team leader, so I had that little extra responsibility that I want to
Right.
take seriously. Because it is 100% way more organized than just like, hey, show up to a field and play airsoft.
Yep.
So I want to make sure that I was doing like my due diligence to the cadre and my friends that
Sure.
were there with me. Um, but that went well. So the first night I didn't live stream. Doesn't matter anyways because it was at night and you can't see shit out
Can't
of a
see.
GoPro at night.
No.
Little Now my wheels are turning. Little fix the brain is turning. It's like, okay, how can I get a MVG camera hooked up to
Mm,
my rig now? So
they
that's
got
gonna
him, bro.
be
They got him.
fuckers
If
got
you
me.
if you want to drop some, 10 grandish on it, go ahead.
No, I'm thinking not 10 grand. We'll see. I got some ideas
Yeah.
in the process. But so I didn't stream the first night because you couldn't see shit anyways. And we went to like 3 a.m. shooting each other and then went on to Firewatch. I got my guys set up. We went to Firewatch. Then my guys went back. I had to stay late to cover for a guy who was talking to like the platoon sergeant. So I didn't get any sleep the first night. And then I started it that morning. Started live streaming for about like 4 hours. I had like a recon mission with the
Hmm.
KWA guys that I was able to live stream. And then we had a pretty good like squad wide engagement on this one position. And then my buddy, another Coast Guard guy that I've worked with for a while, he, in true Victorville fashion, got his arm lacerated by a pretty nasty cancer rusty nail. I'm sorry, that was a joke. Inappropriate timing, but got
Oh,
his
dude,
arm
I don't mind.
lacerated.
I'm not
Okay,
sensitive to this at all.
okay.
It ain't hurting my one feeling, like at all, like
The
not at
one
all.
feeling I
No,
like
no, no,
that.
no, no, not like we make jokes all day, bro. Like I
Okay,
can't wait
okay,
for my
okay.
hair to fall out so I don't have to shave. Okay, I'm serious. I'm totally serious. I told him yesterday, how long is it going to take for all this shit to fall out? I'm tired of shaving.
Yeah. Makes
I
life
said,
a little bit
I'll have
easier.
I'll have my wife draw eyebrows on me. Okay, I don't
Yep.
care.
Go get some tattooed eyebrows. But all right. Well, thank you. So my buddy got his arm lacerated. They were like, shit, like we kind of got to go to the ER.
Yep.
So I went ahead, I
Tetanus
ended live
shot, like
stream.
whatever.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I thought we were done. So I ended the live stream. We were rucking off site and it was like, all right, well, I guess we just DQ'd. There goes our first Milsom West. And then on the drive out, like we got a call from the platoon leader. It's like, hey, who told you that you couldn't come back? It's like, yeah, blah 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 blah. It's like, stand by. We're gonna work on that. So my buddy, he comes out of the ER or going into the ER. He's like, man, like I'm kind of done. Cutting my arm open. That AO, that whole thing is kind of pissing me off. It's like, all right, man. Well, just like drop me off once we get out of here, and you go get a hotel, and we'll ride out tomorrow. He steps out of the ER. It's like, all right, bro, let's go back.
No shit.
Yeah, yeah. He
Oh,
was all
good.
into it. Yeah. So we got a chance to finish the event after some much appreciated air conditioning and maybe a sushi run.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Um, Well,
Well,
we
the Milsim West thing, that rule, when you leave, you can't come back. That's the if you're okay, I'm tired, I want to take a
yeah,
break, I'm going to leave the AO, then
yeah.
don't come back. I agree with that rule because there are full on immersive,
Mhm.
whatever, how many 24-hour, 48-hour, whatever they're doing. Continuous is continuous. It's like being in the military for
Yeah.
those 40 hours. So,
You don't get to
um,
just get out of
yeah,
the
oh
field
yeah, I'm
just
going to
because
go
you
eat a
feel like it.
snack back at the,
Yeah.
back in my tent. No, dude, this is it.
Yeah.
So I do agree with that, but I think yours is an extenuating circumstance with somebody gets injured, but not too bad. They can go get fixed and come back. Like that's, I'm sure
Yeah.
they were glad to have you back. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I was very grateful for that regardless.
Absolutely.
Because I know that's definitely a case by case basis. And
Sure.
even people that leave for some medical stuff don't come back.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to lie, it was kind of hard to come back because on that drive back, I was like, man, I'm like 5 minutes from saying, fuck it, get in the shower and getting drunk.
Oh, you would definitely have regretted that, bro.
Oh, I would have. I
You
would
have
have. I'm
regretted
glad I
that.
followed through, but like my
Yeah.
inner bitch was screaming at the
That's the
moment.
flesh, bro. That's the flesh. Okay.
Yeah.
It's always telling you to do the easy way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
It was the first time I've heard that voice pop up in a while, and
Yeah.
it was screaming. But I'm glad I finished.
Good.
That was so worth it. Yeah, Milsom West kind of like redefined my standard of airsoft from now on. It's going to be really hard going back to pick up play.
So
Um,
the one thing that they say all the time that I've heard them say, I was saying this when my sons first started, and I knew nothing about airsoft. And I started learning about some of the events they were going to. They were called mil sims. I was like, well, what is that? I never heard that word, Oh, military simulations. I'm like, when they first told me that they were going to go to their first one, and they were starting to talk about what's a 24-hour continuous, and they were explaining all that, okay, and some of the rules and stuff. They showed me the website, and I was looking it up, and I was like, bro, y'all ain't ready for this. Like, yeah, they've been out of high school for a couple years. Okay, they my two
yeah,
boys that were into it, that were on our channel. They're like 6 foot, 6'1", 320 pounds. They were offensive linemen. They can push a lot of weight. They're very strong,
yeah.
but a
Being
lot of
strong
fat too.
always isn't
You know,
super. Yeah,
and
being
they're not
strong
used
isn't
to
always
running.
supportive of
No, When you got that
military
much
fit.
size on you, that much weight, and you add a
Yeah.
bunch of other weight onto you with gear and all that, and then new boots that you got to break in, good luck, bro. Good luck with
Yeah,
those blisters. Like,
yeah.
you want some intestinal fortitude, go walk 20 miles in new boots. Fucking
Oh
forget it.
God, yeah,
So, they're telling me about it. I'm like, that's not really a mil sim. Like, if you're not doing this or doing that, like, what are the regulations? Like, and so I was kind of picking it apart because I didn't know.
Mhm.
That all these different events that they had gone to that had different rules and breaks, they would play for 2 hours and break and then play for 3 hours and break. And I'm like, that's not really, how can they call it a military simulation? That's not really
Yeah.
simulation.
You started
Um,
comparing it to being in the field right off the bat, didn't you?
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So then I found out about Milsim West and I was like, okay. And I saw some of their videos. Somebody
Mhm.
on the podcast that I had on, oh, I knew who it was, Mr. Off Topic, Mr. OT, shout out. If you don't follow him, go check him out, man. He's got a big. Uh, if you look up Mr. OT on Instagram, you'll find all his stuff. But I had him on. He was like, "Dude, I went to a Milsim West Milsim," and I was like, "What's that?" And he was explaining it. And so I looked up one of the videos, and there's this famous video where a dad takes his son. I think his son's 16 or 17 or something. And there's
Right.
a whole gear list you have to bring, and they
Yep.
go through it by the numbers, right? So there's this video showing that and he forgot like a second pair of socks or something. I think they almost
Oh
kicked
yeah.
him out.
Out the door.
Yeah, like dude, you can't follow
That's a
this
big one.
list and get the fuck out. Like, and my sons were like, man, that's kind of bullshit. Up, they paid this money. I'm like, no, no, no. They had a list. If you can't follow it, go away. And I
Yeah.
was on board with that because of being in the Marine Corps. Like, get your shit together or don't come.
Yeah.
So I was really, and so their thing is what they talk about, Milsim West guys talk about is we're the only real milsim in airsoft. And I totally agree because
Mhm.
as far as like military simulation, but I feel, I've said it a lot of times, like they need to have different words for these other milsims. I don't
Yeah.
know what, but you know,
So I have yet to go to like an Operations Lion Claws or American Mill Sim. So I'm gonna withhold that kind of statement, at least personally, until I go. That
yeah,
way I can say from experience. But I'll
sure,
tell you what, MSWs, it's it.
yeah,
They're it.
yeah,
They that was just like going to one of the readiness exercises that I've done
right.
in the military. That they got it right.
Hmm.
Um, like uh, God, one of the guys on my fire team, a younger guy, he forgot what was it? He didn't bring cold weather gear, like thermals.
Mm.
And we were sitting there, like everybody's got their kits sprawled out. He's like, dude, I gotta get this. Like, buddy, you better go beg, steal, or borrow, because you ain't
Hmm.
getting on that field without it. He's like, no, that's bullshit. Like, I'm fine in this. Like, no, that's not how
It's in
this
the
works.
desert, right?
It is, but even in the desert, it can get cold. It
No, I
drops
know. That's what I'm
temperatures
saying. When the
real
sun
quick,
goes down, it gets fucking cold as shit.
real quick.
We used to sleep out
Um,
at Palm Springs when I was stationed at Pendleton. We used to go out to Palm Springs, and my buddy had a dirt bike, a Honda 250 or something like that, and we'd go riding out there in the dunes, and it's fucking 95 during the day. That sun goes down, and we had our military sleeping bags with us that were thick as fuck, and we're sleeping in a dried up riverbed or creek bed to get away from the wind. The wind
right.
does not stop out in the desert. Like
No.
it's constant. That sun goes down, it is cold, bro.
And
Yep.
it punctures.
Yeah.
It don't care, especially whenever you're already exhausted, probably
Sweating. Yep.
dehydrated. Yeah,
Hmm.
it'll it, heat
You'll be
loss whenever
shivering.
you're exhausted is nasty.
Yeah.
Um, and then during the day, like I had to catch myself, like shut your mouth, stop opening your mouth, stop breathing through your mouth. Like you
Hmm.
are losing water so fast.
Yeah.
Doing that. That was something that an old habit that I've forgotten that I had to relearn real quick. Um, but man, I tell you what, I cannot wait to go back.
Hmm.
I definitely want to go see all the other mill sims that the world has to offer, but it was damn near like a variation of cognitive behavioral therapy,
Mm.
where you have to like the whole thing with that. If y'all haven't been through it, is that you have to go back and you have to retouch what used to hurt you. You know,
Mm.
you go back and you retouch that hot stove. And there's a book called Touching the Dragon by, oh God, I'm not forgetting this guy's name right now. Uh,
I'll look it up.
his name's Jimmy something. I forget his last name right now, but he was the SEAL team chief that went after Bergdahl.
James Hatch.
James Hatch, yeah, thank you, Jimmy Hatch.
Hmm.
Um,
I'm
and
gonna
he
read this.
describes it as touching the dragon because you got to keep
Okay.
touching that dragon until you realize that like it's made out of paper and it can't hurt you anymore.
Mm.
Going back to Milsim West, allowed, I'm not a combat veteran. I'm in the Coast Guard,
Same. I never saw
but
combat. Yeah.
there are some probably less than ideal things that you, even in training, that you had to
Sure.
work through, and this kind of gave like a positive way for me to reframe those memories.
Right.
A way to like go back and do that thing, get back on that horse, touch that dragon again
Hmm.
without getting burned, and it kind of it makes it a little bit better. So it's very therapeutic going to that.
Absolutely.
And it lets you have a lot of fun with some toys.
Yeah. I think all of the veterans the military veterans I've talked with on here have said the same thing. Like getting back into airsoft, after especially after they got out of the military,
Yep,
uh, it has been therapy for them. Like it has been a huge part of their therapy that they were kind of stuck in the muck and mire of everyday life that gets boring real fucking fast.
real fucking fast.
And they're like, they miss that camaraderie from the military. Most of us do. And they find airsoft and they find these bigger events, and they're like, dude, this is it.
Yeah.
And Veterans for Airsoft, run by Freddie Lux. That's exactly why he started it. He was a Navy veteran. Same type of thing. Just going through that, mental ping pong,
Yep.
and got out there and played some airsoft at some mil sims, and then um, was like, okay, this is what I need to do. And
Yeah.
then he started this program where he'll go out and they get veterans like that have never played, never been on the field, never done anything, never, after the military, and they give them a free ride for this first event. So they'll give them the ticket, the like helicopter rides or whatever.
Oh
And
shit! You
yeah,
get a
dude.
helicopter ride for free.
Yes, they get the whole gamut for free to get them
Nice.
involved, and they get that first one done for free from the veteran from VFA. So it's a really cool program that gets guys like actively is helping these veterans that are
Hmm.
sitting at home and maybe too afraid, too nervous, too stubborn, too whatever to get, take that step to get out there to one of these events, whatever. They help them
Hmm.
get off the couch and get out there. So
Yeah.
it's really cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. I recently found out about that page, and I followed it, I think, like 3, 4 weeks ago
Yeah.
as I was prepping for MSW. Found them, and I think what they're doing is awesome.
Yeah.
I need to double check what their rules are for active duty because I think you have to have a copy of your DD 214 to go,
Yeah.
which you don't get till you separate. Um,
Yeah.
but
I'm not
it's
sure. Yeah. You
awesome.
can reach out. Freddie's real approachable, man. Reach out to him
Yeah, yeah,
through
it's definitely
whatever
something
his
that I've been trying
Instagram
to
or,
do,
yeah.
or not trying, been meaning to do.
Hmm.
Um, but that looks
And
like
you could
fun.
offer, if it's some of his new events, if you wanted to be in a leadership role or something, with your experience, you could,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. I do like how MSW goes to the extent of like trying to handpick who they put for their fire team leaders. And
Absolutely.
my squad leader was oh man, I know he was Army. He was some sort of infantry type, and then my actual cadre was Cole, Corey, and then my favorite man in the world, James Caber or James Johannan. Um, so having actual, combat guys as cadre, kind of setting the tone and
Hmm.
running things right, that was awesome.
So you know, point about that, having good leadership like that, in those roles, in those platoon leadership roles or whatever. Uh, I found out real quick that these milsims my boys were going to, that makes a huge difference in the how much fun these guys have that are on these. It's like the
Definitely.
guys, like my boys didn't go in the military. They played football in high school and then just they got jobs after high school and stuff. So and then they got an airsoft, so they didn't have a lot of that kind of experience. Repetition of calling in stuff, stuff like radio
Right.
stuff,
Right.
and tactical movements and stuff. So it was for them, they would come back and tell me about this from this event. Like, oh yeah, we had this, this one guy he was confused about, he didn't know the rules. He didn't know he didn't prep, and he was like the fire team leader or the platoon leader.
Oh,
So yeah, it was really bad.
fired.
So, hmm and then they would go to one that, and most of the ones they went to, they had really good leaders, but they could tell a real contrast difference in the good ones and the bad ones. And so I'm really glad that Milson West does that. It's
Maybe
important.
that's the most immersive part of Milsom West.
Right.
Having good and bad leader.
Uh-huh.
The immersion.
That's true. The immersion. Because,
Uh,
yeah, that is so true. Because, man, I tell you what, we had some, I've only had, honestly, in my 4 years in the Corps, I got to say, I've only had one sergeant that was a kind of a shitty. The second one I had was a staff sergeant when I got stationed at Edson Range. He was on his way out. He was like 2 months out of, ready to get out. He was a shitbird. He didn't care about anything, didn't care about his
yeah.
uniform. He was like unsat all the time. But we just kind of wrote it off as, okay, he's getting out after 8 years, whatever, and so
He's checked out.
he's checked out. And the next one we got to replace him just came from Harris Island DI school, from drill instructor.
Oh.
He did his 2 cycles or whatever and got done. And then he came to us. And I was like, holy shit, bro, what a difference. We were doing inspection till 7 p.m. But
Jesus.
it was crazy. But and we were used to this lax kind of lifestyle before that. It was like that scene in Clint Eastwood's where he's a Marine, and goes to that 29 Palms and so it was like that.
I bet you thanked him for it in the end.
Oh, I loved it. I
Yeah.
I actually loved being in the Marine Corps. I really did.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the bullshit gets old, but I volunteered for all kind of shit. Everyone told me when I get it, don't volunteer for anything. You get fucked over. I'm like, dude, that sounds really boring. So I volunteered in Okinawa. I volunteered for this thing called Chaser School, where I was like, learned how to hand with a baton, handcuffs, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, so you went to like MP school?
I went to MP school, and it was like a modified. I didn't go through the whole thing. We didn't carry a sidearm. It was just a baton and handcuffs. We rode along with like non-violent criminals, going from the brig to do some whatever kind of things. This is 1991, so there was no electronic bank stuff. Okay, everything was paper, so you had to be in person, and so some of these non-violent criminals, I ride in the back of the van with them. But I volunteered for that, learned some different stuff, got to go do some cool stuff. I volunteered for the color guard. I didn't care, man. I was like what new things comes up? I'm gonna check it out, because daily life gets boring as fuck, man. I don't want to stand in formation all day. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. You don't want to stand in formation all day. You'd be doing all the normal boring stuff, or you could go volunteer for something cool.
Right.
Yeah. I've kind of got to the point where I'm kind of on the way out of my current unit. I should be leaving next summer. So I'm kind of like to the point where I'm not necessarily volunteering for like certain qualifications anymore. But I've had we would always volunteer for deployments. You have like a set qualification that you need to get, and then after that is just deployment I call them deployments. They're Coast Guard deployments. So, you go spend a couple weeks doing security for this one guy, or you go down to the border for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So it's not real deployment, but you volunteer for those trips, and I've kind of gotten to the point, like I'm already 3 knee surgeries down. I've got 4 bulging discs. I've got some other stuff going on. I was like, I can't volunteer anymore.
It tears your body up, man.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Doc has already thrown out the scary words of med board, so we'll see how that goes. I don't think I'm there yet, but getting pretty close.
Gotcha. Get into a less physical role, and
we'll
then
see.
I
bet you $10 right now. I'm gonna get my next set of orders, and it's gonna go right back to being super high speed operational, and I'm gonna be like, cool. So I retire in like no less than a year,
right? Medically.
Yeah.
The one thing I volunteered for that it was cool, but it was extremely difficult, was the NBC team in Okinawa. So it was a nuclear, biological, chemical warfare team.
Yeah.
And Okinawa is hot as fuck, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's super high humidity. Okay. 95 and 90% humidity is a normal day. So, and we're dressing up in those Gumby suits in 1990, those thick rubber green suits. Okay. And we're taping the gloves, with that chemical tape around your wrists and your ankles.
Oh, I know very well.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah. So we didn't have at my last unit, we didn't have like the rubber suits like what you had. We had the ape suits, or all-purpose protective ensemble, and so it was like that, but it was almost like ripstop.
Yeah, I've seen those.
And man, they just one training day, they decided we're going to do all suburban kit, and we're going to go do hits on just like a barracks room complex looking for suburban threats. And so we probably spent like a good 6 hours in those suits looking for all the suburban threats, and it ended up with they finally stopped and were satisfied whenever one of my buddies got heat stroke. Like, well, by the time that I was getting out of my ape suit, up to my ankles was wet, or it was standing water or sweat.
Yeah, you're staying in water. Yeah,
yeah, because
boots
none
are
of that
full.
shit drains out.
No.
Yeah, like I'll be running up the stairs and you just hear the sloshing.
Yep.
In my ankles. That was a rough day. We
Well,
weren't really doing proper CQC by then. We were just kind of like stumble fucking around.
Well, not only that, I mean, your shit fogs up, and I would use the sweat for my gas mask. We would bend over and tilt around so the sweat would clear it out. And I mean, you're breathing in your own sweat. I mean, you definitely won't dehydrate. You got something to drink in there, I'm just saying. But it ain't good, okay?
No.
but yeah, it's brutal. And I thought, and when we're supposed to shoot targets too as we're moving on these different locations, and I'm going, bro, what? And then they would randomly throw a CS grenade in our area, and to make sure all of our shit is. Some of us are starting to smell it or feel it, and we're like, dude, if this is real chemical warfare, we're dead. We're fucking dead. Yeah. This gas mask ain't holding shit, okay?
Yeah.
Holy
even
hell.
with all of your gear, like that was pretty commonly talked about. It's like, listen, we may be perfectly decked out, but if we go respond to a nerve agent and we go do CQC in a contaminated environment, like we're probably all going to die in 5 years anyways.
I'm telling you.
It's to keep you alive long enough for the mission to be finished, and
that's
then
it.
Go retire.
Yeah,
Thanks for your service.
With your, mustard gas blisters everywhere or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, I was like, give us one of those instead of the regular old style gas masks. There's one with the hood, like you see in the modern day movies, right? With the antiviral, the whole suit with the big visor, and give us shotguns instead of M16s, because I can't aim with this fucking thing on. What the hell? Yeah. I need something I can hip fire.
So I don't think they were in circulation in the 90s, but with most people using the Mark 53 shooter's mask now, you can actually get a pretty good cheek weld on them. And the way that the air flows inside of there as you draw it in through your filter, it'll shoot over your lenses first. So it'll defog your lens. I think I have one around here somewhere.
Yeah, let me see it. I was just going to look it up. Plus, I want to pull up your YouTube channel too here in a minute.
Okay, I don't have the filter in it, but this was my old training mask.
Ooh, yeah, that looks good.
So you have a flat cheek right here. That way you can get your cheek weld. I mean, you still have to like arch down and fight it a little bit, but
sure,
you can look down a micro T. All right. Then whenever you breathe in through here, it'll pass it up over the lenses on the inside of the mask.
Yeah, we didn't have those. Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, basically the airflow comes in right around there. Mm-hmm. So honestly, with the way that gas masks are now, it's actually great for no fog eye pro.
Nice.
But I ain't wearing this shit anymore. Fuck.
What? Hell no. I can't get that smell out of my nose, okay? That freaking smelly rubber.
Yeah. Definitely distinct.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun with burn training.
Well, I wanted to pull up your YouTube and go over some of your stuff here.
So my YouTube doesn't really have anything. I don't put a lot of effort into YouTube. My stuff is on Twitch.
It's on Twitch. Let me go to that.
So you can actually watch my Airsoft Con live stream and my Milsom West live stream. They're both up right now. My YouTube, it has some old footage of like pickup gameplay.
Yeah.
I'll send you a couple of links to like specific stuff that I think are worth it. But Twitch is where all of my stuff is at.
Got you.
Let's see.
Yeah, you got a good setup, man, too.
Oh,
So it's
thank
cool.
you. Thank you.
Okay, here
And
you go.
also, something cool with Twitch is, or with my content, is that it's not just completely focused around Airsoft. I do Tarkov and other video
Yeah,
games as
game.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I got a couple shorts on YouTube. I did a little stint where I was preparing for the Evike Airsoft shooting competition. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll do shooting drills. And I posted the shorts on YouTube. So those are there. Uh,
Yeah, that's cool. Oh, I found that so it's Wyatt Wallace runs the Airsoft
mhm.
network
Okay.
on Roku. So um I'll send you his details. You can reach out to him because he's looking
Please.
for live streamers. He's looking for his live stream events because
Really?
the way he's setting up this channel. I mean, it's already up and running. He's got like 4,000 contributors on here for creators. You know, I'm on
Okay.
there. I think I'm the only podcast on there right now. You know, most people aren't going to turn on their TV and watch a podcast like this, right? They're going to listen
Right.
to it on. I get more listens, more downloads from any of the listening podcast stuff than I do from views. But um, I'm still, he reached out to me. I'm on there, and a lot of he's looking for a lot of live stream things because what he's doing is like on the weekends or certain days of the week, he'll do whatever days you're streaming or whatever he can work that into. It's like a
Mhm.
real network channel. Like if you're
Okay.
scrolling through ESPN and they're showing this, program show or this syndicate show or whatever, like he's got some live streams from a lot of the Speed QB stuff, right? A lot of
Okay.
NSL tournaments or anyone the CSL tournaments, any of those that live stream their games, those type of things. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah, definitely reach out to him, man. It'd be cool.
All right. Definitely.
So you sent me one here.
I said, yeah. So that's just our regular pickup gameplay at High Ground Airsoft. Um, you can see me trying to fix my rifle at that moment. I'm really good at breaking stuff, by the way. About half my streams are me trying to fix
Typical
shit.
military guy. What?
But you can rewind a little bit. You can see some of the actual gameplay before my gun started messing up. Oh, yep. There's me inside the tech room again, breaking shit. Who would have thought?
Oh, here you go. Now
Yeah, I think that
this
day.
chat is up on the screen here. Are you able to you're not able to see that on your end, right?
So I can go look at my phone and read chat.
Oh, that's right.
However, what I prefer to do is you see me wearing my Walker Razors. Those are Bluetooth enabled. I
Yeah.
got an app on my phone that will actually read aloud all their messages that they're typing into chat.
Whoa.
So if somebody
That would
types
get
something into chat, it gets really overstimulated
I'm
really
sure.
fucking quick.
Like,
But
bro.
it works really well.
Yeah.
So people will type stuff in there, and I'll be able to respond pretty much right away. I'm kind of working on some ideas to try and like narrow that down a little bit as to what I can actually hear,
Okay.
but it's really just up to the capability of the application that I'm using. Um, I just recently tried something out where they have to use like bits or channel points to play a message in my headset.
Mm.
I haven't really had a chance to test that out too much. I did that for Milsim West, um, and it was kind of like so on the app's dependability.
Okay.
Uh, so I've got a new app that it just reads aloud everything. It doesn't narrow it down at all, but I think it cuts out all the emotes, which is a lifesaver. Thank
I
God.
was going to say, when you were at Milsim West, and especially in a leadership role, you're going to need your earphones for comms. And so, receiving orders, giving orders, whatever, communications back and forth with your team and other teams. So you probably had to turn that off, right? Like you wouldn't be able to, how would it mix in there?
So for my radio comms, I was using just a lapel mic. So
Mm,
just your typical
gotcha.
little speaker that I kept on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Then with the comms, for Milsom West, I definitely kind of toned it down to where they had to use bits or channel points to send a message. That way it'll
Okay.
narrow down what I can hear because I can't really like devote the mental like cognitive resources to
Yeah.
listening to them talk amongst each other.
Right.
But usually for like pickup gameplay or whenever I went and live streamed at the, by the way, I'm shooting into the building's window, not up into the ceiling at the lights at that particular clip before y'all freak out on me. Yeah, I'm shooting into the window of that second story building. Um, so God, what was I saying?
With the comms
eh,
and the text
yeah.
chat.
So on like pickup gameplay and stuff like that, where I'm just soloing it, or whenever I'm doing conventions, I'll hear everything
Yeah.
because it's not distracting me from anything. I can always just flip a headphone off if I need to listen to somebody a little bit
Gotcha.
better. Um, it works out pretty well. It
Mm-hmm.
definitely makes me seem crazy though, because if you're on the outside looking in, you've just got this guy in his own little world, like having conversations in his head,
Mm-hmm.
and I've gotten a lot of weird looks until like I was like, "Hang on, no, let me explain it." Uh, but
Yeah, that's got to be funny, man.
it's pretty funny.
I
Yeah,
think it's
high
cool that this is
grounds.
the you're the second one to do this live stream thing with Airsoft Play.
I'm hoping one day I can have some sort of night vision capable camera. That way I can do night. And then I'm also looking at upgrading my tablet to something that can have multiple video sources. And
Mm.
I'm going to try and get like one of those wireless drone FPV cameras
Mm-hmm.
and put that on my muzzle as like a muzzle camera.
Ah, okay.
Because the one thing that I don't like about it being in third person, even though that's definitely my preference, is that you can't really see what I'm aiming at all the time.
No. Mm.
So I think if I could just
No, they
like
have to
in
be
the
close.
lower corner,
Mm-hmm.
if I could just have a little muzzle cam, that'd be sick.
That'd be cool. Added feature.
Yeah. Yeah, because if I'm actually peeking my angles properly, like I should be, you shouldn't be seeing anything behind the corner.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
But definitely a huge thank you to High Ground Airsoft for supporting me this far, letting me play for free, and opening up their resources to me to just try and get this whole concept off the ground.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. How did you get into the high ground thing?
Well, because I was their first ref
Yeah.
way back in the day.
Oh, okay.
So old, long-time employee. Then whenever I ended up leaving High Ground, I was already convinced on going to the Coast Guard at that point, which the owner of Kurt is a reservist. He was one of the people that kind of talked me into it, as
Mm.
opposed to like doing state law enforcement or going into the army, which was kind of my original plan. Um, so me and Kurt know each other real well, and that
Mm-hmm.
was kind of my in back into High Ground. And then I became friends with the managers and all that. And they just open doors, open arms. Like
Yeah,
they really take care of me over there.
that's
And
cool,
it's a
man.
fantastic field, and it has air
Yeah,
conditioning, which in
yeah, I know. That's
Texas,
what I've heard.
in Texas, that's a big fucking
That's a
deal.
big deal. Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
especially if you want to play for more than 2 hours at a time,
Mm-hmm.
or at least have fun.
Yeah. How do you? They use the skirmish system over there, and
They
I've had.
do.
He's one of the. In fact, shout out to the sponsors of this episode, Skirmish. Go to skirmish.net and the links I have in the video, each video, to find out more, and also Jackal Tactical. Go to jacktac.com to find out more. Thank you to the sponsors of this episode. But yeah, Skirmish had him on a while ago, like a year and a half ago, I guess. Talked about his system and all that kind of thing. But yeah, High Grounds. is one of the
I
ones
love
that
it.
uses it a lot. Okay.
Yeah, I love it. It definitely gives you the chance to, even though whenever I play and I'm live streaming, my objective is content. So I don't always
Hmm.
get a chance to really like fuck with the skirmish too much.
Sure.
But I love the system, and it keeps it like a realistic way of doing objectives without
Yep.
like just basically either having to have a ref over the objective or kind of just like, oh, I think blue side won that time.
Right.
I love the system that they have, and then I
Mhm.
also like that you can keep tracks on the leaderboard on like who's the best at the field and stuff like that. It gives people like your daily what's a video game reference for this? Your daily task to complete.
Yep.
Like, oh, I want to get like this many, or I want to get to this position on the leaderboard. That's a good way to just kind of give people like small little goals, other
Hmm.
than just go shoot and have fun. That
Right.
keeps it pretty engaging. That kind of reminds me of there's a new system out that Evike is kind of bringing underneath their umbrella called Level Up Live, and
Mm.
it's like basically same concept as skirmish, but put it
Yeah.
on a flat range, and then put a ton of like visual effects and auditory effects. It's like it's almost like an arcade shooting range, but for airsoft. I
Oh,
got a little,
dude, I saw that.
yeah, I
Somebody
got
posted a
some
video.
videos of it.
Did you?
I haven't posted them yet. I've been trying to do
Oh,
just like one reel a day from my California trip, and I haven't gotten to the Level Up Live video yet.
somebody did
But
one. Okay, on their Instagram.
it's awesome.
It's
Let me see
awesome,
if I can
dude.
send you the link real quick. Uh,
I mean, it looked like a straight up video game.
it
I mean,
is.
it was badass.
Let's see.
The graphics were amazing on it. When you hit the target, it shows like a
It
splash
explodes.
effect. Yeah,
Yeah,
man. I mean, that's cool.
I got the link. I'm gonna send you their page right meow.
Right meow.
Right meow.
Right
Um, so there's their page. I think this is probably gonna be their best video.
here, this one here. This is the one I saw. Somebody reposted this one.
Yeah,
I think this is it right here. Where,
man, it is awesome.
yeah.
I love that. So I got to talk to
Look how
the
big.
business owner Ty
Yeah.
a little bit, and he's real excited for it. He got a chance to kind of like give me some insight a little bit on where they got started and um like their thoughts on the product. And it's I could definitely see that being at each Evike outpost.
Yeah.
Could definitely see that because they already kind of led into the whole shooting range concept with
Hmm.
their shooting competition, which
Yep.
was a blast, by the way.
Right.
And that whole thing kind of got my brain turning on doing like actual marksmanship challenges across the nation with airsoft.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize the difference between airsoft arena shooting
Yeah.
and actual marksmanship. And I think this gives you the good opportunity to kind of work that angle a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's a great way to get people involved, especially if some people are a little bit scared of playing.
Hmm.
Like some of the younger kids, or maybe even some females might be a little
Intimidated to get on the field.
intimidated a little
Mhm.
bit to get on the field. I mean, whenever you got guys rolling out and their arms are covered in blood and welts, like, yeah,
Yep.
man. Even like the first time that I get back on the field for the first time in a long time,
Yeah.
like I'm waiting for that first initial shot, and I'm gonna be like, all right, this is gonna suck.
Yep.
Just
Now you're warmed
wait
up.
for it to happen. As soon as I can get past like my first 5 shots, I'll
Yeah.
typically be okay. But it's not a lot of fun until then. Depending on where you play, because
Uh-huh.
high ground is like basically point blank.
Right.
And I don't like running a lot of padding.
So this
I
is
get
cool
hot.
for, yeah, like you were saying, this is cool to have something where to offer people maybe they don't want to really go on the field that much, but they love, shooting the guns.
Yeah.
It's cool, man. Really cool
It's something that I
concept.
heard Mr. Evike mention at the convention was that'd be a good thing to put in like shopping malls, Because we've seen,
exactly.
the airsoft gun range and shopping malls and stuff like that, and they're never really that
They're
great, or
archaic.
at
They're like
least
the
they're kind of
shooting
archaic.
galleries at a carnival.
Yeah,
Hmm.
this would be a good way to revamp that,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think.
Yep.
And then especially with having your own account for whenever you go shoot, that's tracked on their system.
Yep.
So then you could compare yourself against like national stats and
Hmm.
like that location stats. It's a good way to get people engaged. I just
Yeah.
hope that, and I tried asking, but I didn't really get the answer I was looking for. I'm hoping that they do like daily and weekly challenges. That way, like, oh shit, I gotta go to Evike today before, like, on
Yeah.
Sunday, to make sure that I go put my name on the board for that weekly task
Hmm.
before the week resets.
Before the week resets. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's popular in certain video games like Division 2. They have
exactly.
weekly reset. Uh, I
Call of
think,
Duty,
yeah.
Tarkov.
Yep. Most of them
Eh,
do.
If they're gonna go for like the
Destiny.
video game effect,
Hmm.
with like the lights and the audio and visual effects
Yeah.
and the all that fun shit,
Yep.
lean into some of the other aspects of video games work so well
Yeah.
as uh, as well.
Yeah. I agree, man. It's really cool. Yeah. So the first time I saw something not like this, but maybe similar as far as the tracking stuff was Attack Sense. It's out of the UK, and they've been making targets for a long time. The Attack Sense targets were they're very popular, and they have fields set up like this, indoor shooting ranges set up like this, and they track your personal stats, and they up against national and local and all kind of world stats or whatever. So,
I
and
think the
they're
next,
metal targets with bullseyes and stuff, and they light up, and they don't have the graphics like this does, but it's yeah, I've talked about it before on the podcast because I thought if they could do a not a mil sim, but a mil sim team themed competition instead of just a regular mil sim, where they take a Saturday, okay, and they'll have to limit how many teams they would allow in there because of time, but you set up this course that's pretty long, and you have different objectives that you have to do. You have to revive somebody over here that's been wounded.
yeah,
You have to
yeah,
extract. You have to get a hostage. Okay, you have to get
you
the
set up like
hostage.
a shoot house in a
Set up
mission
like
type.
but a real on a milsim field. So it's
Yeah,
going to take you, but probably you have 59 minutes. Okay, you have an hour, whatever, to complete this task, and everyone has to have their skirmish things on. Every location has a skirmish thing set up for that specific thing where you have to revive somebody, with the timers on there. And then each location has the attack sense targets that are linked to their system. And that is what's going to show you who is shooting, or if they take out the targets in time or whatever, and they have to get
right.
to the end and hit the button or whatever, the big blaring horn button like American Ninja Warrior or something like that. Okay, with
Yeah,
smoke and everything, they get to the end and hit that, and then whoever does the best time with all those different points added up throughout the game, it'd be a really cool thing to set up. It just
yeah.
I don't know how
Like you're playing
feasible
against
it
the
would be.
house.
You're playing against the house. I
I
just
like
don't
it.
know how feasible it would be, like for a milsim hosting producing company or whatever, to rent a
So,
field, and host that, because you can't make the team buy-in super expensive.
mhm.
And some of these fields are extremely expensive to rent.
So I think one I have heard a while back, and I forget the name, but one organization that was doing it, and it may have been KWA at Project N1.
Okay.
Probably wrong, but watching this and hearing you talk about doing something like that, and then also getting the chance to meet Lenny at Extreme Airsoft and hear him talk about his field, kind of makes me think if you could just like
Mm-hmm.
bring the two together, bring that system, the level up live system,
Yeah.
put it in what's been described to me as like 100% modular field
Yeah.
that can almost be set up as like a a long course as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to like a wide map.
Mm.
You could probably set up something like that
Yeah.
to where a team will have to work through certain rooms and then have, if you could take the level up system and like blow it up to an extreme scale and
Yeah.
put it through the course, that might work.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well,
because
the reason I was thinking about attack sense is because the each individual target
Mhm.
they could set anywhere they want throughout a whole field. You know, you take one
Right,
target over here, one target, and they're all connected
right.
with their system. So, which I don't know how this one is set up, but it looks like it has to have a screen. You know, obviously some type of.
So they're metal targets, actually.
Okay. Okay.
Because that was my first question. Because I didn't get a chance to play, but I saw it as like, are these targets going to get shot out? And looking at that video clip right there, you see the little stand with the circle light around it. That's one of the targets. It's replaying right now. There you go.
Yeah. Let's see.
That last clip before it went to the outro
Oh, okay.
is the target. So
Gotcha.
it's a metal plate with a sensor on it.
Gotcha.
I'm not super familiar with everything that
Like what's creating the graphics?
I think it might be a projector. You're
Oh.
asking the wrong
Oh, yeah,
guy.
yeah, maybe. I need to
You're
have the
asking
guy
the
on
wrong guy.
that started
Let me send
this.
you his profile. Yeah, let me
Yeah, yeah.
you should definitely talk to him next.
They're
He's
out in
real
Cali.
fun,
Okay.
real easy to talk to as well.
Yeah.
He was so and I'm gonna quote Evike George real quick. I'm an influencer, whether I want to believe I am or not. And so that at Evike, the God words Airsoft Con, Ty was the first guy to come up and talk to me on the influencer meet and greet, and you got a chance to kind of talk about his product a little bit, and he's a real fun guy to talk to. So I just sent you his profile. This is his personal. He does a lot of fishing stuff actually, but he's the one that started uh,
Level up.
Level Up Live.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Oh,
looking
look
through
how
his
fast they're
profile
going.
right
They
now.
would definitely be on your Coast Guard radio, okay? I mean radar. They're going that fast. Hmm. We know you're not fishing, dude. Come on.
You don't even have your bait hooked and your hooks hooked up to your rig. Oh no, I love it whenever we go hop on board a boat and it's like a fishing boat, but none of the fishing gear is stowed
Yeah.
and none of it's hooked up, and like the hooks look like they've been there for 20 years, rusted through and through. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, we're fishing. It's like, are you? You're 100 miles offshore
Uh-huh.
and basically a bass boat.
You know who else? This reminds me of so the owner of SS Airsoft in Georgia,
Yeah, yeah.
Steve, his son, one of his sons, I don't know if he has any other kids, but I remember him saying that his son is a pretty popular fisherman on like on YouTube and Instagram and stuff. But this just seeing this made me think of it.
One of
But
these days, if I can ever get back to an area that has good kayak fishing, I would love to hook up my live streaming rig on my kayak.
yeah.
Just go paddle out instead of playing fucking video games. Just go paddle out, like go fishing, be outside, and
Yeah.
just talk to people in chat.
Yeah.
I would love to do that.
That would be cool as hell, man. That'd be
I
very
love video games.
that
and
would be
all,
a
but
very peaceful way to talk to people on chat through your live stream.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Twitch is very much a video game focused platform, and
Yeah.
I love video games. I love playing Escape from Tarkov. But I think it's important to try and put out that influence out there of getting the fuck outside.
Yeah.
Getting away from technology screens. And
Mhm.
I love Airsoft for giving me a way to use technology to share that. And I think fishing would be a great way to do it too. Because, like, let's be honest, I am not the best Escape from Tarkov player there is. No one's watching me for my quality headshot clips. Like, they're watching me to either mess with me and
Yeah,
piss me
interact.
off,
Yeah.
interact, or to talk.
Right.
And I love that about Twitch.
I think that's the majority of Twitch streamers for gaming. Majority
Yeah,
of them aren't you know, the really, really, really top good, gamers, whatever.
yeah.
They're the ones
Not
that
going
are
to
really,
competitions.
there's other things that they do. Like they're really animated when they're playing, like they get crazy or they have, they talk a lot throughout their
Right,
stream, and they're explaining something, or they're talking about something, or they're talking about something random, almost like a podcast while they're
right.
playing, or they're talking with their people.
One of the things that I love doing about live streaming, Airsoft Con or Airsoft Palooza or any big event with like vendors at it, is it gives me the chance to talk about all of the product specific questions that people try to either look up on YouTube or Google. Can't find the specific answer. Oh wait, Swerve is over at Airsoft Con right now. Hey Swerve, do they have a G&G booth with a freaking, what was it?
The new shotgun.
No, not their new shotgun. I had a very specific question about their old World War II LMG that they put out.
Oh,
The
was
German
it
one.
the 42? No, that was ours. The MG 42.
MG. No, it was the MG 42.
Yeah.
It's like, can you ask them the specific question about the MG 42? And so I was able to go over there and like talk to the actual G&G tech,
Yeah.
and do a full on breakdown of their gun and answer that guy's question right then and there, as opposed to hoping that whoever's putting out a long form video covers a specific topic.
Yeah.
I love doing that. Um, there's a lot of things about doing Twitch over YouTube that I like a lot. Not that there's anything wrong with the YouTube route, by the way. It's
Sure.
just I'm already committed to Twitch for one, so
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to devote extra time and resources to YouTube. But for one, I like that Twitch isn't necessarily like auto banning any
Gun
visual
related.
representation of
Yeah.
guns.
Uh-huh.
According to their policy, you cannot advocate for the glorification of violence or something along those lines.
Sure.
And all of their terms of service reports and their banning is user reported.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody in my chat's gonna, as long as I keep on doing the same content that I'm doing, I'm not trying to like test my luck, but nobody in my chat's gonna report me for using an airsoft
No,
using
right.
an airsoft gun on a live stream.
Right.
But if I go over to YouTube, and I'm telling you this from experience, I will live stream airsoft on YouTube for about 15 minutes until the algorithm
shut down.
detects. Yep, and it shuts me down.
Uh-huh.
And they will not. I've already tried reporting it, or not reporting it, but fighting it.
Yeah.
They do not care.
They're too big and too busy to look at each. They can't turn it off. They can't turn off that thing that says, "Hey, there's a gun in this scene, in this picture here, in this video. We don't know if it's a real gun or not. It looks like one, and do we? I get it. They don't want somebody blowing their brains out on live stream. They don't want somebody shooting somebody else in the face on live stream.
The Facebook shooter.
Yeah,
remember that guy?
I get it. Right.
Yeah, I get it.
So they don't want nudity all of a sudden on somebody's live stream. I know there's a delay that they can, when you're live streaming, that they have, I don't know, what, 10 seconds or 20 seconds, whatever it is, to cut something out or shut it off before that, actually gets live streamed. But so I understand part of that. But yeah, they don't have somebody dedicated to watch your channel and say, oh yeah, these are okay. This is okay. It's airsoft. It's paintball. It's whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Paintball, I think, gets away with it because of the style of their guns.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like a real firearm.
Correct.
So, does anyone live stream paintball?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, I don't know.
The ones that I
Um,
would be able to find out from are the most popular ones I know. HK Army. I follow
mhm.
them on Instagram. They have some badass videos, man. They got some really good
Yeah,
cinematographers on their, on their team, or whatever. They get some great videos through their games, like
I
close up. I don't think anyone actually wears GoPros too much on paintball that I've
mhm.
seen. A few of them do, but I mean, one hit, what it's not going to break your camera, but you can't see.
Yeah, yeah.
And
If you get
there's
your lens covered up,
and you're not, the balls are bigger. They're shooting literally, it's spray and pray. It's like
yeah,
the whole field is just nonstop, thousands of paintballs just flying. Like the chance of your camera getting hit in a paintball game is way higher than in an airsoft event. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, if you do get your camera shot, it'll ricochet off, and
yeah,
hopefully didn't crack a lens, and then you move on.
correct. If a
Yeah,
paintball hits just a tiny corner of your GoPro, it's getting splattered. Like
yep.
you can't see.
Let's
That
see
would be annoying.
who did I meet from HK Army at Airsoft Con? So I met the guy who works for Hostile Airsoft, and I think he
Ah,
is with HK Army as well.
yeah.
Uh, Quitski.
Okay.
I met him for the first time. He put on a great presentation for his booth.
Nice.
Yeah, I posted his video yesterday. Um, yeah, he said Quitski with Hostile and I think HK Army.
Mm-hmm.
Hostile Airsoft and HK Army.
Yeah, yeah. All right, he's from HK Army, and that was like the first time that I've seen someone like still publishing paintball
Yeah.
type stuff. I love it. I'm all for it. I can't afford paintballs. I can afford airsoft BBs though.
Yeah. Paintball's expensive, man.
Oh my god,
Well,
yeah,
now they got the new mag fed type of stuff, and the paintballs for that
yeah.
are they have, I forget what they're called. I've had a couple guys on that play that, and shout out Carbon. He he was the first one to tell me about it. He played both airsoft and paintball. He's doing more airsoft now because of the
Mhm.
cost of the new ammo and everything. So the new ammo it's a half a paintball in front of a projectile that's got fins. It's plastic, and the barrel you shoot out of is
Mhm.
rifled.
Oh,
So,
sick.
bro, talk about range.
Yeah, I bet.
And they shoot
So,
harder.
so it's almost like a fin stabilized rubber slug,
Yep,
but with paintball.
yep. A
It's gotta
paintball tip.
hurt.
Yeah, and it shoots
That's
harder. And it's got to hit
that's
hard
gotta
enough to
hurt.
break that. Yeah, to break that half of ball, or whatever, make it splat. Like it's
Man,
pretty
sounds like
wild
the
looking.
military needs to move from simunition to that. Simunition is inaccurate for shit.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like a plastic little shell
That goes on front of
um,
a 22 LR,
in
right?
front of a 9 mil,
Oh, okay.
and the barrel is rifled, but the marking material that they have in there is just like an unbalanced spurt of like blue soap
Yeah, it's soap.
inside of it.
Hmm.
Man, if you could switch out, oh man, that would have made my life so much more fun being an Op 4 role player in the
Right.
shoot house. Just actually having the range. Oh, dude, that'd be fun.
That'd be kind of cool.
Even the military is using airsoft now.
Yeah.
For training, we use it.
That's what I've heard.
We use it for like a close range use of force evaluation. Being a law enforcement specialist, that's kind of like within my field of scope of responsibility, and so we'll have like two role players that are set up in an environment. Like you have this wall, you're not to cross the wall, you're not to make physical contact with the role players. All your use of force decisions will either be like officer presence, verbal commands, or like de-escalation, and then deadly force.
Mm.
And so we have them dress out in their full kits, and they're able to put their airsoft Glocks inside their holster. and then like go through the whole scripted scenario. The role players are able to like kind of you have a script that you follow, but you can kind of like play with the role players interacting with the trainee, and they can live react to like a less than sat verbal de-escalation or shit like that. That's like your one time to like make fun of that one guy
Yeah.
who's a trainee
Uh-huh.
and just really get underneath his skin because you can't within the respect of the 7 protected categories as per federal employment guidelines.
So you can't call him faggot.
No.
Oh, damn.
No. No, but you can definitely oh man, I've got some video. I wish I would have got it videoed of me being a role player. Man, I love it. I've like just stumble fucked some people around their words and like their articulation.
Uh-huh.
It's so much fun. I love arguing with people on the internet, by the way. Not all the time, but whenever like I can find that one guy is like, all right, we're gonna get really good at articulating today, ain't we?
That's funny.
So yeah, it's fun to do that, and then you have your airsoft training piece to work with, and it actually makes people think about their marksmanship under duress too, because you have your flat range, which you have to shoot for score, which other than it being timed, like there's not really a stressor. And then before that, the only other training resource that we had was like a video that played on TV screen, and you gave your verbal commands and de-escalations and all that shit, and then you just dry fired a gun at the TV screen if it was appropriate to shoot or not. So no one, whenever we first rolled around that program, no one really had, from like the more standardized side of the Coast Guard, because at my second unit we did a lot of like force on force role playing and stuff like that with simunition. But for units that can't afford it, it gave everyone the chance to have the exposure to shooting, de-escalation, and articulation underneath some sort of simulated stress. And a lot of people were surprised with how marksmanship kind of like goes down the list of priorities cognitively whenever those kinds of things pop off. Especially whenever you're reaction shooting and you're already behind the curve.
Yeah.
As far as like winning that gunfight, it's kind of surprising.
Yeah, that's why they train like Navy SEALs and all that. They shoot tens of thousands of rounds, like one, each one. They train and train and train so much with the basics, the basic draw, shoot, draw, shoot, draw, shoot.
Yep.
Because the draw, double tap, or whatever, like that, it has to become such a part of your body. It's an extension of your hand. It's like it's not a separate tool. It is actually part of you, and you're so used to it. And you're so used to, that's why they don't change ammunition, because everything shoots they want to limit the variables. Because the variables are going to be, wherever
it's already hard to know.
Wherever you get contact, because you don't know. So they want all that to be so much muscle memory. It is like an extent. You can like these guys on that train like this. You see them online. They have video, YouTube videos and stuff where they shoot targets. The one guy that I've seen, I don't know, I can't remember his channel, but he'll flick around in the air like he's flipping a coin, like a 9mm round or something, and he'll catch it in his open chamber of his 9mm.
Oh, I've seen
and then shoot sideways without looking, like he's still looking at the camera. The target's over here, bullseye, bullseye, bullseye. Like just that takes a lot of practice,
Yeah.
So now that's that one video, that one setup, different things, but. Or not a whole lot of differences, but Navy SEALs, these Spec Ops guys, whatever, Marine Raiders, they train. It takes a lot of time, man. A lot of time, a lot of repetition to get that. So yeah, you're right. When shit hits the fan, your marksmanship goes. If you don't have it as much as these guys do,
if you have to think about it.
Yep, that's right.
If you have to think about it, you ain't gonna do it.
Yeah.
Underneath real duress. Man, like last unit, and I hate going to like a less trained unit and then watching all these things degrade. But my last unit, we were in the shoot houses like 2-3 times a week. You start off Monday going to the flat range, shoot a couple thousand rounds of ammunition. Then you go to either the shoot house Tuesday through Thursday, or like Thursday we might go do a suburban simulated fret, or go do like vertical insertion, or go do hook and climb on a boat. And then Fridays were typically our admin days. And it's amazing how quickly that skill can die out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hear people say airsoft is training, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like I've had the best training that like we could get, and I still ain't good enough. And so it's kind of fun seeing people compare like airsoft pickup play to, you know, something like Milsim West to, you know, like a real Red X or readiness exercise or simunition or shooting live fire inside a shoot house. Milsim West got a lot of stuff right, but you still can't take away the marksmanship variables with airsoft. Which that's just the state of where we are right now in airsoft, and that's fine. And I think a lot of companies got a lot better about it. I'm really excited to drop my my gate clicker mod into my Specna.
What's that?
It's a got it here somewhere. It's been on my desk and I haven't had a chance to install it yet. So trigger pull being like one of the most important fundamentals of marksmanship that gets neglected the most in airsoft, unless you run gas flowback. With me keeping that in mind, coming into airsoft and being disappointed with like what I had available, this little $20 mod, and then of course you have like the per run clickers as well that I haven't had a chance to test out. This little $20 mod, you put that inside your gearbox and it'll fit. It'll work with your either like a Titan or an Aster. The trigger, whenever you pull it, it goes past your ETU, or it'll trigger your ETU whenever it hits right here, and then it has like, well, I must have this thing on safe or something, but okay, this is actually the first time that I've taken it out of this packaging. But you'll take up slack, so you'll get that feel like pressing
resistance
up against a seal. Yeah, and then you hit.
So it feels like a real trigger.
Yep. So taking up slack, and then what would be your sear on a real firearm? There's that wall that you have to push through,
and it releases.
And then I
heard it click.
A click.
Yeah.
So that feels pretty. Like that's good enough for me. I'm real excited to install it. So the ones.
I wonder
from
what
Gate
poundage it's set at.
With. I think it's
probably a couple pounds or something.
I think it's adjustable if I remember right, but I think it's already preset to mil spec of like 6 pounds or so.
Gotcha.
You know, and so that'll work with any Aster or Titan. I wanted to try and work with the Piran clicker a while back, but I was doing some weird shit in my gearbox and it didn't work out. So I put that.
You need to. It sounds like you need to order a MTW from Wolverine.
So I looked into MTWs. I actually really loved what MTW put out. But they had the version with like the mag, the empty mag cutoff, you know, whatever we call it in airsoft, and then they had the version with the real trigger in it, and you couldn't get the two of them combined.
Oh, okay.
Last I checked, it's been a long time since I've checked in on Wolverine.
Yeah,
but either way, like if you want a gun that won't break, especially HPA, that's a good one, because I think they're making them out of real firearm lowers now, or the way that they're forging it is in line with like mil spec guidelines, and it's
Yep.
basically
Exactly what it is. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. So I had the owner on the podcast. I forget which episode it is. And Rich Lort, and him and I talked for a couple hours on it. And yeah, he went into the whole history of their company, and then they were gonna, they were subbing it out initially, and then they got screwed over. One of the guys took their money and didn't produce anything. And then another guy was going to do it, and their machines fell apart or something like that. It didn't come through, so they started making their own, and that's how they were just kind of backed in a corner.
Yeah.
And he got a guy that was really experienced with firearm manufacturing kind of thing, and yeah, so it's been but they do the real specs for it. So
Yeah.
I was pretty impressed with how the process is.
Yeah, I would love to get my hands on one. That almost reminds me of what is it? Daytona bolts. I looked those guys up, and it's an HPA ran blowback with a real trigger group in it. I think a real trigger group in it.
Really? What's it called? Daytona?
Daytona. And it's like a real small company. They're going to charge you, I think, about $2 or $3 for a rifle. And even then, like I've heard, like you will just chew up bolt carrier groups with them. But that looked pretty cool. And then at Airsoft Palooza, I saw the GBRS system, which is like an electric recoil, electric trigger group, or a real trigger on a AEG. And I didn't entirely fall in love with it, but they got all their simulation specs right. They had the bolt functioning bolt catch, reciprocating bolt, a trigger with an actual the sear wall that you have to break through.
Yep.
But I think they got a little bit to work for as far as like their actual airsoft competitiveness and not just like a training tool. But yeah, it was a cool piece though.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at their website right now. See all their machining and all that kind of stuff. It's cool.
Yeah,
I like to see that there needs to be more innovation in airsoft.
I
sure.
agree.
Yeah.
I think now that there is a little bit of a loss of demand, now the airsoft manufacturers are starting to pump up their products to get people back into airsoft. Because let's
Not
be
only
honest,
that-
since 2020 COVID, like airsoft's kind of had like, oh god, what was it? I was talking to somebody in the business, like a 25% decline in demand, something like that. So everyone's kind of like really pushing that competitive edge to try and produce some good stuff to get people back into the market. My plan, though, is running with the Specna. It's got the Aster in it. I'm gonna get myself a Blue Link and then set like the round count to 60 or whatever, and then it'll pause it. It doesn't have like a bolt catch that you can actually hit. They do have a mod for it, but I think I'll break it, so I didn't buy it. But get that with a tack clicker mod, and I think that would be pretty good for me. KWA's got their AG3 line or 3 plus line, where they don't have anything for the trigger, but they do have the magazines that will the empty mag cut off, and you actually have to hit the bolt catch, which I like that a lot.
That is cool.
I think it'd be really easy for just an ETU to come out with something like the clicker mod that Gate came out with, and then just a bolt catch with an IR panel on it, just like how the safety is ran with an IR panel. Just have it set to where I have to hit the bolt catch. It'll put the IR panel in front of an optical sensor that'll tell it oh, hey, it's time to reload the gun. You can put whatever mag you want into it, have your ETU set for 30, 60, 120 rounds, whatever. Uh, and then as soon as you shoot through it, you just have to hit that bolt catch to reset the ETU.
Yeah.
Because that'll also be good for tack loads too. Because with the round counters that they have in there right now, it doesn't matter how many times I change my mag. Like if I change my mag to try before I go into a building or into a new room or something, it's still going to be set on whatever was left inside the ETU tracker, not inside the mag.
Gotcha.
So I would like to see that one day.
Well, they got those 30 round mid caps for these.
They do, yeah. It's not really like the mags holding a certain amount of ammo that I'm interested in. It's about the gun not firing whenever you shoot that last round.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That way, the stimulus you're reacting to isn't, oh, my gun is blank firing. The stimulus you're reacting to is like, oh, as close as I can
pull the
get
trigger
to,
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Like as close as I can get to the bolt being locked back.
Yep.
Without going to gas blowback, because I know for a fact I'll break those.
You're terrible, man.
I've broken a lot of stuff, and yet I'm supposed to wear like 2K worth of tech on me every time I do this. You see where this can go wrong?
You're doing good. I mean, you haven't broke your yellow box. It was like $7,000 or $700, whatever it was. Like, you're doing good.
We'll see. I'm a little concerned with some performance that I've had here recently after flying with it. So hopefully not. If not, it's an excuse to go spend $1,700 on the one that I actually want. I ain't got the money for that.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I remember my active duty days. Was money was tight, bro.
Yeah.
Government don't pay shit.
Yeah. Hey, I got hotel points though. That helped out during
you go.
This trip.
Right. Yeah, that's cool, man.
Well,
who else you want to
discount?
Who do you want to shout out before? Tell everybody where they can find all your stuff, and then who you want to shout out before we wrap it up.
So you can probably the best way to get a hold of me is on Instagram, Swerve_Smash TTV, or if you look me up on Twitch, just Swerve_Smash. I have Linktree in the bio on both of those. That way you can get access to all my stuff from there. I would like to give a huge shout out to James Caber. Basically my Dr. Dre. He's really the guy that kind of put me on the map with a lot of different companies and a lot of different people. Jet for the video that we mentioned that also like did a huge part in kind of getting my followership up to like a level where I can be functioning on like a financial scale almost. Because if I'm live streaming to like 2 people, it's kind of hard to keep going.
Yeah.
And then High Ground Airsoft, and Kurt, the owner of High Ground as well, that's the guy who really got it all started. Thanks for hiring me back in 2011. Little shithead kid that wouldn't leave your pro shop. Thanks for, having a partnership with my channel and helping me get this Airsoft live streaming concept off the ground.
Yeah.
And thank you. Thanks for bringing me on, man.
Absolutely, dude.
It's been a lot of fun. Yeah,
me too. I feel a lot better, actually. I've kind of felt kind of shitty today, physically.
Yeah.
This, treatment, whatever, and I feel a lot better. So I appreciate that.
Best of luck to you.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty positive about it. To be honest, I think it's gonna go.
What choice do we got?
Yeah, right. Like embrace the suck, man.
Hell yeah.
So,
what is it? A more fatty love your fate.
Yeah. It's fine. But yeah, that's what I've said. Like this is another roadblock or obstacle, I guess, in the journey of life. It's fine.
It's something that I've kind of figured out is it takes me a long time to kind of get to the point where I can see the big enough picture. But all the bad things that have happened to me, like the biggest, one of the bigger ones that stick out in my head that kind of plays a long role into a lot of things that I'm even doing nowadays is leaving the team that under less than ideal conditions.
Yeah.
That in itself, like that brought me down to rock shit bottom. Definitely the worst thing that I could think of to that date that's happened to me.
Yeah.
And then as the picture keeps on developing and as you keep on leaning forward and embracing it and, you know, loving your fate and, like keep on pursuing the objective, the more you're going to have the opportunities to like make something good out of that. You know, I'm not naive enough to think that, oh, everything will turn out okay because, you know, whoever's up there is looking out for me or fate's got something great for me. Like, there's a general guideline, but it's going to be up to you to accomplish it.
Yep.
You know, one day, hopefully for you, you're going to be able to have the big enough picture to look back on and realize, wow, okay, this kicked off this, which I probably wouldn't have gotten into if it wasn't for this. And, you know, for myself, like, I learned a lot of life lessons that I probably wouldn't have learned and took a lot of humility to get me there, which I probably wouldn't have had. So, like I said, what choice you got but to be positive? It's going to work out.
The end result or the end goal or the end where we end up, we can't control where we end up. What's going to happen in the future? You know, things that pop up or come up, and sometimes it is bad. Sometimes it ends bad. Hey,
Sometimes it's bad.
Yeah. That's my dad was standing in his driveway and an 80-foot oak tree fell on him. Like, and he lived in a suburb. Like, random, weird, freak accident. Okay. So you never know how much time you got.
Yeah.
And this is, you know, what forms us, all the things that happen to us throughout our life and our journey and all the decisions we make and choices we do, you know, all this stuff, people we meet and whatever kind of influences us personally is a lot based on our personality, like how we receive information and how we, you know, all that stuff.
How you choose to react.
Yeah, how you choose to react. Absolutely. So this is why I love doing this, because it broadens my perspective just in life in general. It's like when you travel abroad, when you travel outside of your own town or you know, you get away, it opens your eyes. It opens your mind to things that you were really narrow-minded on before. And when I talk with these people that, you know, hearing some of the stuff they've gone through in life or whatever, like I can relate to a lot of it and, or, you know, empathize in some way and put myself in their shoes, and it makes me feel better. I mean, that's a little selfish, but I love to hear people's stories and their journey. What made you who you are today? Why are you doing what you're doing now? You know, that kind of thing. So, I love to hear that, and I love to put that out there. So I really truly believe that everyone's story is going to help someone else.
Yeah.
You don't know who, but it's going to help someone. So putting this out there on these platforms that we have, you know, this technology for now, is an amazing way to get people's stories out there that could inspire someone to do something good, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And that ties into one, just knowing, like we all know it, but making it tangible, like something that you know for a matter of, without a doubt, is that you're not the only one going through blank.
Yeah.
And you can get through it because everybody probably in your bloodline, you know, humanity since day one has had to go through it. And then just having that connection with someone who's also enduring it at the same time or, you know, at different timelines. And then, you know, on the flip side, on like, you know, my perspective or your perspective telling our stories, then now we have some semblance of value to what we went through. It's like, okay, well, I went through this and it fucking sucked, but, you know, maybe that eased up that person's struggle. And so now, and this is one of those things where you can draw the good out of the negative. Even if the negative that happened to you had no value, had no great life lesson that you learned out of it right away, the value is that A, you're more tenacious, and B, you can pass on those lessons to others. But people got to be able to speak up about it. And I think there's a lot of stigma as far as like mental health, you know, especially in the military. It's kind of hard to speak up on it. And And we all know that we're messed up,
Right.
but we don't like talking about it. There's a lot of pride.
That's what dark
that
humor's for.
prevents
Okay.
that. Yeah. But anyways, I know you're wrapping up, so I'll shut the fuck up.
No,
But
man, that's good. Yeah, you had a lot of good stuff to say. It's important, man.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I appreciate your journey and what you're going through, man. Godspeed on your journey in the future and what you're doing and who you might influence. And I love the live streaming thing. I think it's cool as hell. I'm going to direct people to your Twitch thing. And
I appreciate that.
yeah, I'm going to send you the deets on the Airsoft network
Please.
with Wyatt Wallace. Yeah, I think he would love to have you on there. I think you would like to be on there. And you have some good content that is fun to watch. So
I'm glad you think so.
yeah. Well, there's a few people that do because I saw your chat streaming thing on this. It's pretty busy, so that's good, man. But yeah, shout out to the sponsors again, Skirmish and Jackal Tactical. Go to those links in the description, and also all of this guy's links. Go follow this guy, Swerve. I'll have all his links in the description of this video, and reach out to him. Let him know that you found him through this podcast, if that's how you did. And we'll keep the cycle of storytelling going here, where we can share our stuff. Yeah, man, I appreciate you so much. And yeah, have a good night, brother.
You too. Thank you.
All right.